And we're sewing some knits today. What? look at this project. This is called the Tonic Tee by SBCC Patterns. Not sure what the SBCC stands for, but what's great about this is it has petite portions. Proportions. Petite portions? So here's what I want to show you. I picked up some fabric from Walmart, clearance, 2 yards for $4, and I sewed a t-shirt out of it, and this is how it turned out. What? What? A t-shirt that fits me, that isn't down to here, and it is like the waistline? Amazing. I'm super happy with this pattern. So at Joann's the other day, you know they're going out of business, right? There's some deals to be had. Hold off a little longer, I think, for fabric deals, but I picked up this gorgeous floral stretch knit fabric. It's beautiful, and I paid $5.59 per yard, and then because there was like 2 feet left after that, basically what I'm trying to say is I got 1.2 feet. No, I got more than that. I got 5 feet of this gorgeous floral knit fabric, and we're gonna sew up another Tonic tee. So here's where I am. I've attached one shoulder to itself. This is the back, this is the front. And we're now going to add the neckline. This is a binding here that goes around, and it's a little tricky. So let's go. All right. I think that this angle looks okay. I might bump you over. No, you're staying here, guys. You're staying here because I have a lot of fabric to maneuver. So I got a little bit of a head start because I was so excited to get working on this project. Now, there's a few things I need to point out to you. Let's go closer. The first thing is, how am I sewing knits on a vintage Singer Stylist from 1958? I'll tell you. I'm using a twin needle. So this right here has one pokey thing that goes in, and then there's a needle on the left and a needle on the right. And both of these are threaded with white thread. I've also got white thread in the bobbin. So, I'll also point out that I'm using a walking foot. This can be really helpful for fabrics that are stretchy, that kind of slide around. It basically just moves the top layer of fabric along with the bottom layer. As you know, the bottom layer is being moved by the feed dogs, but usually the top is just kind of like going along for the ride. With the walking foot, that's not the case. So what I've done here is I've pinned, gotta come closer again. This is what I've done so far. This is the neckline. It's been folded in half, wrong sides together. Thank you, Gardening Goddess. She says, cool sewing machine, and she loves that fabric. So do I. And over here, we've got lined up the folded over fabric and then the bodice. So here we go. Let's start sewing. And I'm gonna try to get you close, but this project is pretty important, and I don't want to be effing around trying to get the camera so it's going to stretch out my fabric. When you're sewing knits, this is super important. You don't want to be stretching out your fabric when you're sewing. So now here's a caveat to that. For the neckline, this gets really confusing because your neckline, it's ultimately going to be folded up. And because it's closer to the up part, it's closer to your neck, you want it to be a little bit narrower than the actual bodice piece. So when I pinned this on here, what I did was I kind of stretched it out just a smidge, and then I pinned it in. So it gets a little bit tricky, and I'm gonna just really go slow and careful here. It turns out, gang, that I love sewing knit fabrics. And I'm going to do a little sewing, and then once we get through here, I'm going to tell you why I love it so much. Let's go for a little ride. Let's start sewing. All right. Why do I love knits? Because it takes a lot of careful maneuvering. And they're so much easier to work with than I thought they were going to be. Let's keep going. I like using this little fiddly stick to get the material exactly where I want it. And this pattern calls for 3/8 inch seam allowance. It doesn't specify using a twin needle, but when you're sewing stretch fabrics, it's really important that you're using the right kind of stitch. The stitches need to have elasticity to them. Otherwise, your fabric's going to stretch, your stitches aren't, and your threads are going to just rip out. How many times has that happened to you? It happens to the best of us, but it's not going to happen to this top. Let's keep going. All right. Now, it took an awful lot of fiddling for me to be able to figure out how much tension to put. And for this vintage machine, yeah, basically I have a dial. This is my tension dial right there. I'm on tension setting of 7, and that's a little bit higher than what I normally use. Let me also point out to you stitch length. I'm doing 8 stitches per inch, which is a kind of longer stitch. And the point I want to make here is the shorter your stitches are, the more elasticity you're going to have. It seems kind of weird, but that's just the truth. Believe me. All right, let's keep going. I'm going over a little bit of a hump here because this is where the front and back of my bodice piece is attached. And we're just going to go nice and slow. I have my presser foot pressure set to 2. And sometimes for humps, I even bump that down to 0. But I think for this one, we're just going to leave it as is. Let's just get everything lined up and let's keep sewing. Oh, that was so easy. And that little noise, I think, was just my spool of thread kind of spinning around. Hopefully it wasn't anything more than that. But let's keep sewing. I feel like something's making noise and making me nervous. What is that about? Take a deep breath. Let's just keep going. Maybe I'll hand crank a couple times and see if I can figure out what's going on. Okay, actually, can I see what's happening here? My threads are kind of tangled up. So here's the deal with a twin needle, right? These are the tension discs. When you're threading your needle, there's a lever back here. You lift up the presser foot, and these tension discs kind of spread out a little bit from each other, and that allows you to feed the thread through. Now, we really don't want these threads to get tangled up with each other. And I'm looking at them right now, and they are a little bit looking like they're tangled up. So when anything like that happens, there's a couple of issues that can arise. It's going to, number one, affect your tension. There's just more resistance at that point. So that's a thing. Number two, I feel like there's a couple things I could do right now. I could keep going and hope everything's going to be okay. Oh my gosh, hang on. I think I see the problem. Can you all see? Let me get focused here. Did one of these threads kind of get stuck? Okay. So let me put my needles down into the fabric so we're not going to lose our place. All right, we are locked. Now I'm going to lift up the presser foot and I'm going to try to figure out what's happening here, because to me, let me get a holder so I could use both hands. To me, this seems like one of these threads jumped over into the wrong spot. And if that's the case, this, cross my fingers, is going to be an easy fix. So right here is the thread. Hang on a sec. Over. This is the thread going to the right needle. Oh, look at, it's so tangled. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is kind of a little disaster. Let's just unthread everything from the tension discs. And yeah, we're like all looped around here. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad I caught this when I did, because if I had kept going, I feel like we probably would have gotten tangled and it could have been rough. Probably would have had some broken threads. And just as a little bit of piece of information here, this is the first time this has happened to me. So, hopefully it's not something I have to deal with multiple times. All right. So when I threaded this originally, I threaded the left needle first, and I had that go to, oh man, I feel like I should just start at the beginning. No, we can do it. We can do it. Let's just get this guy out of here. Stuff like this, I feel like some people can go bonkers when little stuff like this goes wrong, and I sometimes can. But I also recognize that this is just part of the deal with sewing. And, you know, I don't have a lot of experience using newer sewing machines. I think I mentioned this girl was born in 1958. And, you know, maybe it's for the best, because if you've never threaded a twin needle, I'm giving you the inside scoop here on how to do it. All right. So we are back in the proper tension discs. I'm going to hand crank a couple times and just make sure. Oh, hang on. These guys need to go through here again, that other keeper. Now, I don't know. I think, what am I going to do here? Let's back everything up. I'm just turning one of my threads, and now my other thread. I'm just kind of backing everything up so we don't have all this extra thread going through here. Oh my goodness. If I saved myself from a disaster, I'm going to be really happy. And I also feel like disaster could be right around the corner. Best case scenario, I feel like we're going to have a couple of wonky stitches here that's like right in the middle of the neckline. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So I all right. I did the best I could. Let's keep sewing. Let's drop the presser foot again and make sure we're aligned. Here we go. I'm going to hand crank and just see how this goes. I feel like I'm having to pull pretty hard here. Oh yeah. I'm still getting some resistance. Maybe it's just because the thread was, oh gosh. It's happening again. Oh, this is a disaster. All right, we're just really tied up here and tangled, and it's really frustrating. So the problem is these guys, the problem is I need to rethread it all from the beginning, is I think the solution to the problem. Maybe that's not true, but I mean, here's another thing. Could I just kind of try to hold them apart from each other for a few stitches and see if that'll help? I don't know. Let's try it and find out. We're totally improvising here. Oh, that doesn't even feel like that. Oh my gosh. This is bizarre. Okay. My thread just really wants to get all twisty-turny, is what's happening. And I'm not here for that. So what can we do? Where am I in the neckline? I am, unfortunately, like, originally I had sewn this is the back part of the shirt. So right now I'm kind of near the shoulder. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna do a few back stitches, and then we're gonna cut the thread and we're gonna restart after I rethread everything. We're being a little bit conservative here, and I feel like that's the right move. Whew. I can only do so much hand cranking. Any questions about twin needles? Because wow, I really feel like we went deep into that. And oh, is there something else happening here that I didn't realize? Why am I? Oh, all right. Oh man. Okay. That was a little bit annoying. We got all kinds of stuff going on. I have a bunch of skip stitches. There just was a lot happening here. So look at, you guys see what was going on? Look at all these skip stitches. It's just a lot of nonsense. So let's cut this out and let's rethread our machine, and then we're going to start over. Not from the very beginning, but we're going to start over from where we left off. All right, let me pan out here and you all can see the whole threading. All right, so pull these guys out and my presser foot is up. We'll take care of this later on. I'm just going to take these stitches out and then we're going to kind of like tie off here in the back. You'll see. You'll see. But first, let's thread it. Now, one thing I wasn't really sure of is this is the way the thread comes off, the left side of the spool. For this one, I had it come off the right side of the spool. And I felt like maybe that's something I had read along the way. Maybe it wasn't. But, yeah, that's the way I did it. Okay, so we're going through the first keeper. Now the left thread is going to go on the rear tension disc. Come around this little loop here. Come back up. And then we have to go through this hole up here. That's the actual mechanism that pushes or pulls. Gets the thread up and down, up and down. Now, for the left thread, we do not go through. There's a little slit here, which is the last keeper. We only use that for the right needle, not for the left. And, oh gosh. Wow, did I get lucky the first time? Woo! So anyone who doesn't know, March is so much March. And I'm hoping to sew as much as I can. I am not a fast sewer. And I also have a bunch of hangnails that are making my work here a little challenging. But I'm off to a great start because today is March 2nd and I've already sewn one shirt. I was hoping to finish this one today, but it might not be until tomorrow, the way things are going. And I figure, 31 days in March, I could potentially only sew this one top over the next 30 days. And I could be like, hey, I sewed 2 new garments in March. Bam. That's more than I do most months. So, hooray for So March. All right, this guy, I'm just feeling like this spool has way more tension than the one on the left, and I don't know why that is. It's okay. Let's put this guy through this little keeper. I could have zoomed in for you guys to see this better. Here, what do you think? Do you want to really see it up close? Why not? There we go. We're not focused. Oh, that's annoying. There. This right guy went through that little slit there. And now we're going to try to get him through the needle hole. Oh boy. So tricky. Oh my goodness. Another thing about twin needles that I'll point out is these are ballpoint needles, meaning that they're a little bit rounded at the tip, and that's the kind of needle that you want when you're sewing with knit fabrics. For knits, you really just want the needle to like poke in between the fibers, and you don't want it to be going in hard like it would be for I'm going to stay zoomed in. I'm going to see this up close. All right, hang on. So let's deal with this nonsense. I'm going to take my seam ripper for a little help, but I'm not going to, hopefully, oh my gosh, look at this. Wow. All right. This is what I'm going to do. I'm hoping that I can tie a knot in this. And to do that, let's rip this here, and let's rip this here. Oh, actually, this guy's kind of pulling out, so get a little more length on this one. I'm a little bit of an attention to detail person, and something that I've been doing when I'm sewing these knits, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I'm curious to know. I often, when I come to the end of a seam, I'll tell you, it's a little bit difficult to backstitch, I've found, with the knit fabric and with the twin needle. But backstitching typically is done to help lock your seams. So what other options do you have if you can't backstitch? There's 2 threads here. So actually, let's zoom in and I'll show you guys this. Sorry for the fact that we're not actually sewing, we're fixing a mistake. These are the threads that are coming through for the top twin needles. And here's what it looks like at the back. Let me go further back where it looks, oh, we have some skip stitches here. So each of this is the bobbin thread, is the zigzagged thread down here. And each of these little things that's like anchoring it is the top threads, the 2 different top threads. So it's super cool. And now I want to show you this too. When we flip it over, so here's our neckline, here's our bodice. When we flip it over, there's a way that like the fabric folds. So ultimately, when we get a little further along, we're going to be top stitching this down, because you don't really want your neckline like folding up and getting, do they call that bacon neckline? Was that a thing with like an advertising campaign years ago? They're like, oh, our men's undershirts won't get bacon neck. Which is basically like a wavy, wonky neckline. And, oh boy. You know, I'm wondering if this is worth my effort. Am I going to be able to get this out of here? I don't know. There's always a risk when you're seam ripping that you're going to rip your fabric, and I definitely don't want to put any holes in this. Lost cause? Lost cause? Is that what we're looking at? And we also have the fact that like we're going over. I wonder if it's possible. Sometimes, you know, I mentioned that it's a little tricky when you're sewing over, I call them speed bumps, but when you're sewing over an area of your garment that's thicker, right here it was 4 layers of fabric rather than the 2, or no, it was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 layers of fabric rather than 2 layers. So it's possible that when you do that kind of thing, sometimes your machine, especially if she's born in 1958, she kind of doesn't like that. And there's little workarounds for that why is she making noise? That was weird. Oh my gosh, it was my foot. I still had my foot on the pedal. And I guess I was getting a little tired because I might have been pushing on it a little bit. Oh, goodness. Goodness. Okay. we're gonna just seam rip these ones out. And then for those top ones, I think I'm gonna give up the idea of trying to tie a knot in them. I think we're just gonna overlap again, and some of the new stitches are gonna anchor down those old ones. And we're gonna cross our fingers that the neckline doesn't come undone. Ideally, you wanna have just one line of thread going through here, and then that way you're not going to have a potential spot where it could come out. Oh my gosh. It was really like working against me here, and so the stitches are super close together, which makes them very hard to seam rip. This whole process, like, you might not hear it in my voice, but I'm getting close to my limit as far as patience goes. So, fortunately, I think we're almost at the end. Oh my gosh. Can I tear through that many stitches at once? Apparently I can. Okay, getting back to Joann's clearance. I was there earlier this week and I saw a seam ripper, like an ergonomic seam ripper. It looked really good to me. Oh my gosh, we're free. We're free, we're free, we're free. Well, the really wonky part is done. It looked really good to me, and seam ripping is one of my hardest things that I do. I've had a lot of surgeries on my hands, and I live with a condition that affects all my joints, ligaments, and tendons, and hands, wrists, dexterity, strength, all of these things can be problematic for me. So, I forget where I was going with that. Oh, an ergonomic seam ripper might be a really good thing for me to have in my sewing arsenal. I feel like I need to quit messing around with this. We're just gonna sew over it because I can't do this anymore. All right, let's get back to it, gang. We're gonna overlap like quite a bit because, again, I really don't want to have a neckline that's gonna unravel. Oof, we've been going at this for almost half an hour, and that's a long time to only have part of a neckline done. So please do me a favor, cross your fingers, and let's hope that things pick up after this. I want to show you more than just sewing a neckline onto a knit top, but can't control the timing, can we? All right, I'm going to backstitch here because it feels like I really need to lock this new stitch in. So let's get some of them in here. Oh, I like this angle. You guys can see really well, can't you? Okay, let's keep going. Oh, we're going to go really slow and easy here to start. Power. All right, I think we are back in action. And it's probably a good idea for me to go slow over the speed bump, get my fabric lined up again. I'm gonna hand crank, be really cautious. And then I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about optimizing your tension for sewing knits, because that was really tricky for me to figure out. And I think you just need to fiddle with it for a while until you get it right. Let's keep sewing. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for crossing your fingers, gardening goddess. Here's what I'm thinking. I think that having a bobbin on here is not working so well. I did that before, but interestingly, I had a metal bobbin. It's got a little bit more weight to it. I think that, oh my goodness, this is frustrating. Let's get this out of here and let's just put another, oh my gosh, I can't even. Let's put like an actual spool of thread on here rather than a bobbin. Oh. I'm ready to start throwing bobbins across the room, gang. You know that it's so March when bobbins are getting tossed all around. All right, you're out of here. You're out of here, plastic bobbin. Where's some white thread? Oh my gosh. I kind of want to go for the Gutermann. Should I? Should I do it? We're going to do it. We're mixing threads, which is not ideal. But hey, got some momentum, so I'm going to keep going. All right. Let's do this. This is, see, this, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous. When your thread is like this pattern on the spool, these are better for when you have, when your pin, what do they call this? Your spool pin, thread pin, when that's horizontal rather than vertical. This type of thread presumably is better for machines that are situated like that. I believe that. And I also don't love the fact that I'm mixing this kind. First of all, I'm mixing two different brands of thread. They're both polyester, so that's good. But I don't love the fact that this could potentially be another issue. But we're going to take it as it comes. Oh, gosh. Please let this be the last time I have to thread a needle today. Please, please, please. And I get tired. I get real tired. Are you a person who can sew or craft or do stuff for like an hour, 2 hours, maybe even longer than that? Straight till you need to take a break for a snack or to use the bathroom. I am not one of those people, but I used to be, and I kind of pretend that I am. And I start to feel it when I do that. Okay, all kinds of nonsense once again. Let's show you what I'm looking at. Hopefully this is just going to be so much March and not so much madness March. Are you all getting spring fever? I am. I'm ready for some springtime. And oh no, that looks like it just pulled my fabric, not the thread. Not ideal. We're doing the best we can. Oh, and we've got a comment. Thank you for showing all the problem solving that sewing requires. It can be really frustrating along with really fun. Yes, yes, yes. This is so true. Okay. We are gonna keep going because, my friends, I am bumping up against a wall. I feel like I want to redo, let's start here, because this isn't, there's a lot happening here that is not great, but you know what? That's okay. I'm going to start up here, and there we go. We did it. We did it. Let's cut this guy here, and, oh, goodness. All right, back to it. Going over the hump for the third time. Can you guys see okay? Yeah. I only have like so much in me to hand crank because my wrists are bad and my shoulders and elbows, so hopefully that's enough. Oh, come on. Come on, old gal. You got this. I went a little wonky here, so I think I can pull a little more of that out. Good. Okay. Ugh. I think we're in business. Oh, that's so much better. Whew. Sigh of relief. Let's keep sewing. And are we aligned? No. Now we are. Get that there. Let me get my little pokey tool because this thing's super helpful. More than my fingers a lot of times. All right. Lesson learned. No plastic bobbins for the reason why, like, you know, you might not have two spools of thread that are the same color. You might not. But when that's the case, a backup is just to wind a second bobbin. And then you can do that. Okay, making some good progress. Wow, that was a heck of a detour. Thank you for bearing with me, friends. Oh, smooth sailing. I love it. I feel like we're going to finish the neckline as soon as I can. I'm going to do it in silence. Everyone enjoy a little peaceful break. We're going to just, silent. Zip it, Terry. We're so close to the end. Okay, here we go. Yanking out the pins, yanking out the pins. What the heck is this? This better not be. Okay, good. That is just a remnant from the nonsense that was going on earlier. Get this aligned. Okay. So much march. Sometimes I sew over pins. I try to avoid it. A lot of folks do it all the time, and I'm fine with it once in a while. All right, the end is important because we want this 3/8 inch seam allowance. All right, I think we're good. I'm going to try to back stitch here. And get that last pin out. We've got a neckline sewed on. Yes, we do. Let's do this. So, oh my gosh. All right, here we go. This is our neckline. Oh my gosh. What the heck is going on? Oh my gosh. You guys, I think that I'm gonna sign off and then start crying. Along the journey, I just totally lost my way. It's not worth crying over, but we're gonna have to redo everything. So you can see when I started, I was aligning my, no, am I okay? No, I'm not okay. All right. So here's what's supposed to happen with the neckline. You fold it under and up, and then we're going to take the twin needle and we're going to top stitch here. And that's going to make it so that it's like locked down and flat. So let's boom, 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 keep going, see what we have for the neckline. Okay, it's still looking okay. Look, it's getting really narrow here, and look what happens here. I was not really paying enough attention because I was frustrated and tired. And instead of lining up these guys with, wait, what is going on? Let me go back to the start. Okay, this is exactly what's going on. This is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be sewing your 2 seams close to where the edge of the fabric is. What I ended up doing here at the end was sewing using this as the guide. So this is just all messed up. And that you can flip up, and this you can't. So here we go, guys. This is how my second project in March, so much March, is looking. Bam! Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will be back, and Jack the Ripper, we'll see. This is a tough stitch to get out. It's got, I mean, yeah. Thank you, Linda. She says, looks like Jack the Ripper is ready to work. That bites. It does bite. And, maybe I'll think of a workaround. I mean, there's a workaround. Let's go with this, and then I'm going to wrap up. What if, you know, the super narrow side, what if I just sew the wider side to be super narrow as well? I think that would work. Might look wonky, but it would work. Yeah. We could have a collar that's that narrow. Why not? And then still top stitch it down on the other side. Yeah. Another option would be to just, this is going to be good. I'm a person who laughs at her mistakes, and I feel like that's super helpful for crafts in general, maybe life in general, but certainly for sewing. So like another option would to just be like, oh, no one's going to notice. They might not. Like, that is definitely a possibility. So what are we looking at here? I'm going to take you over here. Here, let's show off. This one, I sewed the neckline, no problem. No problem with thread. Like, this was easy peasy, considering it was the first time I did it. This one, what would this look like if we just kept it as it is? Would anyone notice? So this is what we're looking at. I'm sorry, this is kind of all over the place right now. This is the, oh my gosh, this is the back of the top. So it's in the back where we have it like it's quote unquote supposed to be. Around, I can't believe I'm saying this. I might opt to take the approach, which is no one's going to notice. Could I be so cavalier? I think I could. Okay, so let's see. I hope I'm in frame. Yeah, it looks weird, but I mean, the back and the front, you're not going to be seeing them. It's not like the right side and the left side. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was 3/8 of an inch wide over here and 1/8 of an inch here, that would be an issue, but it's, let's see. No one's going to be looking at my shoulder seam, are they? If they are, this is what they're going to see. That's really not that bad. We're going to take the approach of no one's going to notice. Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's do some top stitching. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's going to be so much easier than this other nonsense. Let me make sure that I'm satisfied with, is anything here going to rip out? Did we overlap enough? This is kind of making me nervous. There's a little trick that I was doing for some of my, well, really for my ends of my thread. What is happening here? Oh, I see. Okay, let me show you a little trick, because you don't want your knits to unravel. This is what I do. I feel like it's kind of a couture type approach. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna take the bobbin thread. Oh my gosh, you all are seeing up close and personal at how much effort it takes me to do little delicate things like this, and I'm amazed. Sometimes I watch these videos back and it's almost like physical therapy for me, because I'm watching my hands do things that when I'm actually doing them are very painful and uncomfortable. Oh, I should have done that the opposite direction. No, we're good, we're good. All right, so what I did, I took the bobbin thread, poked it through the fabric, and now I'm just tying a knot between the two top threads and the bobbin thread. And hopefully, I'm gonna do a triple knot. Hopefully that's gonna prevent it from unraveling in the wash or when I'm stretching it over my neck. Ooh, I can't wait to top stitch, guys. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Let's do the same thing over here. Yeah, I'm gonna take this guy, flip him to the other side. I'm betting most people don't do this kind of thing. Again, it's just me, attention to detail. Oh boy, can I still thread a needle when I'm this tired? Oh my gosh, I think I got it on the third try. Whew, so much March. All right, let's tie a knot. Let's tie a knot. Oh my gosh, I'm really excited and proud of myself for taking the no one's gonna notice approach. I'm really excited about it. Can we give myself a little round of applause for being like, whatever, it's good enough for me. I'm gonna put you all over here now. See if this is, see, it focuses on this rather than this. How's that look? I think that's okay. All right, let's get some top stitching going on. And actually, I'm trying to think. Let me reference the instructions here, and we can take a look. So what have we done so far? We've done this. Okay, next, I think we're going to close the seam at the shoulder, and then after that, we're going to do the top stitching. So that's a little bit easier. Let's get our other shoulder seam. So here's the one that's sewn together, and here is the other one. We're going to be able to, here, you know what? Oh gosh. It's almost like, we're good over here. We're good over here, because this is going to go inside a seam as well. So let's just snip off this extra here. There we go. Right through there. And where's the other seam? This is obvious. Well, you might not know this. This is going to be sewn right sides together. So here we are. And I want to show you something really cool once I get this pinned. Actually, I'm going to show you now because I need to know the answer before I pin it. You want your, typically you want your shoulder seams to be going towards the back of the garment. So now, when we are sewing with our twin needles here, when we open it up, it always flips in that direction. So when you use, you know, your seam guide here, it's flipping to that side. So knowing that, that would mean I want this to be the back side of my garment, and I want what's on top to be the front side. So let's see here. I want the top to be the front side. This is a little scoop neck, so here's what we've got. The front is the wonkier side. Yep, that's the front. And we're going to be sewing it like that. So where did my other shoulder seam go, for Pete's sake? Here it is. Okay, here we go. So this and this are going to get attached to each other. And this gets a little bit weird because we're sewing like circles and curves and all this stuff. And we also have a wonky neckline. So ideally you would want, okay, there's so much happening right now. This is going to be pressed out and up. And you're going to be able to see it better on this side. This, your neckline, you want to be pressed out and up. So that's what it's going to look like. Now, ideally you would want to line these up with each other, the seams, and I'm not going to worry about that. So we're just going to pin this and sew it. It's going to be great. Okay, get some pins in here. And I want to make sure that we're still looking at the top. Yep. The top of the blouse, the top of the shirt is on the top. And that's going to make it so that our seam is going to fold towards the back of the shirt. Perfect. And I really don't need this many pins. I kind of could have done this a little bit differently and a little bit better. I usually prefer, here we go. I usually prefer to start with the hump and then go down. That's not the way I worked this out. So we're gonna do it the opposite way. And it's gonna be fine. Let's get this thread out of the way. And let's get this down here. Let's start sewing. Presser foot is down. Sink the needle. Okay. Do some back stitches. And let's do the whole seam. Okay, I am here. I'm going to take my presser foot pressure to 0. And I'm also going to use this to help guide the fabric a little bit better. And I'm going to walk this. I'm not going to, oh jeez, we're stuck. This is tricky stuff, gang. How many layers of fabric are we talking about right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you'll notice when I'm using this twin needle, so there's kind of like a tunneling effect that can happen. And it's not ideal, but I've kind of just been accepting it for what it is. Oh my gosh. I'm calling it. I'm calling it, you guys. Did we do it? Yeah, this is fine. Wait, what the heck? What a day. What a day it has been. I've got threads breaking. I've got all kinds of stuff. And I've also got a top that has been connected at the shoulder seams. Okay, let's give it a little try on. And we're going to finish this up. I don't know if I'm going to live stream it or not. I'll try to. But we still have next steps. We're going to add some sleeves. It's going to be a short sleeve t-shirt. And then we're going to sew the side seams. And then we're going to do a 3/4 inch hem at the bottom and at the bottom of the sleeves. So here's what's coming up. Here's what I've sewn so far. And thanks for watching. Happy creating, happy crafting, and subscribe if you haven't. Bye.